you from up above. Baby, come and sit close to me. I wanna sing about how much you really mean to me. Listen, lady, I wanna sing to you with every part of me. I got to say to you, you're everything I need. You were made for me, baby. You were made for me, baby. Look what we've come to be. Ever since the girl, time won't you leave? Baby, I'm glad. Blessings. You're so beautiful. I know they look at me all the time. But listen, I wanna say to you, blessings. How's everybody doing? Do you believe you got that person that was just made for you? And I'm not talking about in the flesh. I'm talking about in the spirit. You feel that person was made for you. Blessings, blessings, blessings. My name is Apostle AleciaBiggers, and on this station, we meet here every Tuesday and every Thursday at 6:15, where we talk about self-love and self-deliverance. This isn't where we're just waiting, thinking that God is going to do some abracadabra. This is where we show you through the word of God, through biblical teaching, where God shined the light on areas of darkness in our lives, and for us to make the necessary changes so we can be the best people that we can be. And so today I want to say I do not own the rights to this music. That song was Pastor Timothy Rogers, Made for Me, Made for Me. So today we're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about relationships. I played that song because that was a song that he made for his wife. And he talked about how she was made for him. And so many times, but we're going to flip it though. I want to talk about don't lose yourself. And we're going to come from out of Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter. And we're going to start at verse 18. Everything that I tell you, I'm going to come from the scriptures because I don't want you to think it's me, but I want you to know what the Spirit of the living God has to say about us, about not losing yourself. So we're coming from Deuteronomy 30, verse 19. He said, I call heaven and earth as a witness against you. So you got to understand that there is a spiritual law that earth and heaven is listening to us when we talk, what we do, and when we get in relationships. So many times we don't realize that God is looking at us when we get in relationships, because you know what? Our relationships are supposed to bring God's glory. So many times we get in relationships and we think that it's just about us. No, when God bring a couple together, that man and woman together, it's because them two are supposed to be an example of him on the earth. And so when you don't see couples bringing an example of God on the earth, something is wrong with that relationship. He says, so I call earth and heaven as a witness today against you, that I have set before you life and death. So God is giving you a choice. I'm giving you a choice between life and death, blessing and cursing. He said, therefore choose life that you and your descendants may live. And so, in other words, when we think that God is just, our life is just happening the way that it wanted to happen, God, why you let this happen? No, God is saying, I'm giving you a choice. God said you have a choice between life and death. And so many times when we get in relationships, even with family members, even with co-workers, even with church members, even with an intimate relationship, so many times we lose ourselves, because when you stop telling yourself the truth, when you got to deny yourself to make another person feel good about themselves, you are losing yourselves. And so many times when we have not dealt with our issues, because we feel we are dealing with codependency, dealing with low self-esteem, dealing with insecurity, sometimes people will lose themselves because they want to have somebody in their life. I hear so many women say, I'd rather have a piece of man than no man at all, not understanding that woman is saying, I can't stand myself, so I don't want to be by myself. That's what that means. Because if I want a piece of a man and not a whole man, that means I must think that I must not be too much in order for me to want a piece of man, because a whole woman want a whole man. I don't know about you. I want a whole man because I'm a whole woman. I'm working hard to be a whole woman so I can be a whole woman to him. And so therefore, I don't want no piece of a man. I want a whole man. That means a healthy man, a man that's going through and working through his issues so he can be the best that he can be, because I'm working to be the best that I can be. And so many times we're not working to be the best that we can be. We just going in relationship. Oh, he made good money. Oh, she made good money. Oh, he fine. Oh, she fine. And we're not looking at what it is that person is bringing to the table, what you bringing to the table. We got to begin to understand when you got to give up of yourself, when you got to deny what you want. He asks you what you want. Whatever you want, like the lady on Coming to America. What you like, whatever you like. You're losing yourself, because when you no longer can say, well, I want to go to Red Lobster or I want to go to McDonald's, but whatever you want, when you can't tell the truth, you ask that person, can I talk to you? And they'll say, okay, well, we'll talk later. And later come, you say, can we talk? We'll talk later. Next 6 weeks on pass by, we'll talk later. You're losing yourself, and guess what you're doing? You're choosing death. Death means separation in the scriptures, Deuteronomy 30:19. God saying choose life and death. And we got to understand, when you choose a person that does not help you to become the person that God wants you to be, you are choosing death. Death means separation from God. Death means ignorance. Death means it's going to cause you some pain. Death means it's going to separate you from God, and that person is going to be your God. So many times we get into relationships where people, we got to treat them like they are an idol, because they want you to take care of them and you don't take care of yourself. You got to begin to understand that means you are losing yourself. When you're giving so much out and you're not putting nothing in yourself, you are losing yourself. You giving 110% to the relationship, but they giving you 20%. You're losing yourself because you're pouring so much of yourself out, more than what you're giving to yourself. And we got to begin to understand something is wrong with that. When we don't have a conversation to have enough common sense to look at ourselves and say, you know what? I'm pouring more into this relationship than what they pouring into me. And it doesn't have to be an intimate relationship. It can be friends. You doing the one every time y'all go out to eat, you always buying the food, and your friend don't never buy the food. Every time you say you got this, oh girl, you know I'm going through. You said that the 2 weeks ago. Every time you always doing it, you always calling, praying for her. She needs you. And then when you call, girl, I'm going through, I can't pray for nobody. You got to understand you are losing yourself because you're pouring death into somebody. You're pouring into somebody else, but you're pouring death into you because you're separating yourself from God. Because a lot of times we fail to realize you are the church. You are the house that God lives in. And so when you don't take care of yourself, you don't take care of this church, you ain't taking care of God. So many times we trying to take care of every person, and here it is, we haven't made time to talk to our creator. We haven't made a time to go back into our prayer life. When God is giving us warnings about people, he's showing you she ain't never there for you like how you there for her. He's giving you a warning sign that you're losing yourself because you're pouring out of an empty vessel. You know you about to pass out. Can you help me clean my house. Here it is, you need help with your house. She never offered. You got to understand you are losing. That person is draining you. They sucking you like a vampire. And so many times we stay in relationship where we've been friends for 30 years, where we've been in this relationship. He loved me, but I just do all the cleaning. Well, you work just like he worked. How come you got to do all the cooking? How come you got to do all the cleaning? How come you got to pay all the bills? You got to understand you losing yourself. And so many times we don't recognize we're losing ourselves because we saying, I want to be with somebody because you don't want to take that time and effort to deal with you. And when you don't want to deal with you, you are telling yourself, I don't value you. And then we get mad when we feel like people are running us over. We feel like people taking us for granted. They feel like when we talking, they ignoring us. You know why? Because they see you doing that to yourself. And then here it is, we'll be mad because we see, why they doing me like this? Why you doing you like this? You losing yourself trying to pour into a friend. I just want a friend, but the person is not even being a friend to you. This person is not even being an associate to you. This person is giving you nothing, but because you want to say she your BFF, she calling you that. I have learned people will call you titles and they don't even mean it because they just want something from you. Oh, that's my brother in the Lord. He ain't your brother because you know what? You always helping him. You always helping him cut his grass, but he'll never come and help you. Well, that means he's not your brother. And saying this is what we got to begin to understand. You losing yourself, and if you got in a relationship with God, God will reveal to you to look at your relationships, and you got to weigh these relationships. Are they making me better? Are they helping me? Are they any value to me? Because when you're in these relationships and you don't see any value, it's letting you know it's a waste of your time. Can I tell you, there are some spirits called time wasters. These people will be in your life for years, wasting your time. They really don't want you, but they don't want nobody else to want you. They know they mistreat you. They treat you bad, but you keep on catering to them. And they just I give you some flowers. Next thing you know, they cussing you out. They mistreating you. But they just doing that to keep you stuck because they know that you have lost yourself to them. You have even lost your identity because you keep pouring your empty vessel. You keep pouring everything you got into this, making dinner, trying to make other people happy, not understanding you're getting the short end of the stick. It's because you're losing yourself, and because I just don't want to be by. What's wrong with being by yourself? You got to begin to understand when you was in your mother's womb, God had already trained us that we can function in life by ourselves as long as you got him. Did you hear me? As long as you got God, you can function. And so many times we're losing ourselves because we lost our relationship with God because of another person, because they don't want to get into the spiritual thing. They said that it don't take all of that. Can I tell you, it take that answer more? Because you got to understand God wants a relationship with you, and he wants your prayer life to get back strengthened. He wants you to talk to him. He wants you to cast all your cares upon him because he cares for you. So many times we carrying all these burdens, and because you won't lost yourself, you don't want to tell nobody how you feel because you don't want nobody to look at you some kind of way. You don't want people to feel like, you know what, that you don't want them to know your business. And here it is, you got to carry all this shame, all this bondage. You got to pretend like you got it together. You got to pretend like you happy. You got to pretend like y'all good buddies, y'all close, when in reality, you're losing yourself. And we got to understand that when you do this, you're no longer operating in self-control. That's why one of the fruit of the Spirit is self-control, patience, and long suffering. And so sometimes God will have you by yourself because he's trying to show you what you are doing that's wrong. But see, so many times because the enemy within us, we would get convicted and we don't want to hear the truth. Let's talk about this. Why don't we want to hear the truth? Why don't we want to deal with the elephant in the room? Because here it is, as a nurse, every person that comes to the doctor's office, guess what? They want to know what's wrong with them. So I want to know how how come we want to go to the doctor because we want to know what's wrong with us? We want to go to the dentist because something is wrong with us, but something is going on in your life, and yet we don't want to go to the creator and ask the creator what's wrong. When something is wrong with my car, I take it back to the dealer. You got to understand, when something is wrong with you, your spiritual life, and the doctor say, I can't find nothing wrong, that means something is going on in your spiritual life that you're not dealing with. And because you don't want to deal with it, you ignore it. That's when some people start drinking. Some people start smoking weed, smoking marijuana, because they don't want to deal with it. As a nurse, I see so many people not wanting to deal with their issues. This is where they get anxiety. This is where I need something to calm me down. Because if we really face the truth, I just don't want to look at that. This person is making a fool of me. I really don't want to own up to the fact that they just using me. I really don't want to own up to the fact that they really don't love me, but I just don't want to be by myself. This when you got to have these kind of conversations to yourself about yourself, that you know what, I really don't want to be alone. See, can I tell you, when you can say that I really don't want to be alone, this is when you need to go to the next step and go get your counselor. This is when you got to go get your therapist. This is where you got to get your deliverance coach. That's why I'm here, because so many times we don't want to be by ourselves, but then yet we're unhappy when we're in these relationships because we're losing ourselves. That's why God said you choose life and death. And so many times we're choosing death, but we're mad and we're angry at God. God, why did you let this happen? Why did you let them do me like this? And God said, wait a minute. Deuteronomy 30:19, God say, earth and heaven is a witness against you. That means the earth and the heavens are watching. People who have died, they are watching you. And the decision that you make in your life is causing earth and the heaven to tell God, look, they choosing death. God, look, they made that man they idol. That woman, they idol. They worshiping them instead of you. And God says, so when you worship another person, God said, I'm a jealous God. He said, so therefore, you're choosing death instead of choosing life in me. He said, because I'm going to have you dealing with yourself. I'm going to have you dealing with your issues. But when you don't want to deal with your issues, that means you're going to choose death. And death means a separation from God. Death means you want to walk around with blindness in your eyes because you don't want to face your truth. And this is what God is trying to tell us, that you're losing yourself. And this is where we got to take responsibility and stop blaming other people. This is where we got to stop drinking, stop having these one-night stands. Come on here. Stop taking this abuse from folks because you know that they don't mean you no good. You already know, but because you lied to yourself, because you won't lose yourself. Can I tell you, when you lose yourself, let's say, for instance, you've been with 5 people. And every person, now you're by yourself, you're looking for somebody else. Can I tell you, a part of you is broken in every person you left? Every person that you was in a relationship with, they took a chunk of you. Imagine a chunk off your face, a chunk off your head, a chunk off your back. A part of you is in that person. This is why every now and then, you ain't been with that person in 6 months. Now all of a sudden, they can call you and ask, can they come to your house at 12 o'clock? And you say, okay. It's because a chunk of you is still in that person. Here it is, fellas. You know you ain't talked to her in 3 months, and she know that you get paid on Friday. And so now she want to ask you what you doing. Can you come pick her up? You got to understand, because you lost your part of yourself and you did not work on yourself. You got to understand, she can pull you in. For the simple fact is, she can pull you in because you didn't deal with your issues. You didn't deal with your hurt. You didn't deal with your pain. You lost yourself in this other person because you did not want to be by yourself to go through the pain. That's why one of the fruit of the spirit is called long suffering. Suffering long. God want to put you at a place that you got to suffer long, because you got to recognize what you are doing is wrong. You got to recognize who you with ain't helping you. You got to recognize the mental abuse. They may not be fist fighting you, but their words is beating you. They telling you stupid. They telling you dumb. They telling you will never be nothing. They telling you ought to be glad that they with you. You got to understand that verbal abuse is more worse than the physical abuse. You know why? Because with the physical abuse, that scar will heal. But you got to understand, when somebody is beating you in your your head and they tell you ain't nothing, you ain't gonna never be nothing, you got to understand them words will keep on talking. That means that person don't shut their mouth, but when they begin to open up their mouth and they begin to call you everything but a child of God, them words that they spoke in your head, that's why I tell people, your words are alive. Them spirits will begin to talk to a person, and it'll make a person feel down and out. It'll make a person not believe in themselves. It'll make a person, you see, I got my hand up because that was me. It'll make a person feel like they're nothing because they're listening to the words constantly. Do you not know your mind, your brain go through 60,000 words a day? 60,000 words a day. And scientists say that the words are refurbished words. We keep thinking, nobody don't love me. I ain't good enough. I'm not smart enough. I can't apply for that job. I ain't good enough. And we keep rehearsing these words and not understanding you're losing yourself. Because here it is, you trying to be strong for other people. You see, I'm raising my hand because I'm telling, this is how I was. Trying to be strong for everybody else, but I go home weak for myself. Not realizing I was losing me. And when you got to remain silent at the table to keep peace in the house, you are losing yourself. Why? Because everybody got a voice. And when you can't never vocalize what you feel, and other people are vocalizing what they feel, you have lost yourself. This means that you have allowed these people to change your identity. Now you're no longer the happy, bubbly person you used to be. Now you're a wounded, insecure person because you gave your time and energy to somebody who wasn't pouring into you. Can I tell you one thing about God? God will let you stay in that kind of place until you recognize that something is wrong. I'm telling you the truth. I grew up hearing people say, oh, God ain't gonna let you go through no stuff. He gonna spare you. No. God will let you stay. Just like the children of Israel wanted a king, God let them have a king because that's what they want. And guess what? God will allow you to be in a situation until you recognize something is wrong with this. This don't feel good. And this is where we got to stop being so religious. That's what I'm talking about for us church folk. God, there were church people. Oh, Apostle, just pray. Just pray and fast, Apostle. Just pray and fast. No, I can pray and fast all I want to. But my praying and fasting ain't going to make nobody change that don't want to change. And this is what we got to stop understanding this, because God is speaking. Because when you're praying and you're praying and you're praying and you're praying and God is not, and that person is not changing, God is trying to let you know he's not going to make a person do something that they don't want to do. And so when you keep on trying to push somebody, now it makes you open up the door to witchcraft. Because witchcraft is when you're trying to force a person against their will. Even if a person is doing you wrong and you're trying to force them to do you right. You're trying to force them to be good to you and they don't want to be good to you. When God is saying, I'm allowing you to see, you choosing death. Deuteronomy 30:19, God said, choose life or death, blessing or cursing. God has given us a choice. But the thing is, we're choosing death, but we're mad at God. And God said, no, you better take responsibility. And this is why sometimes we don't want to read this word, because this word is going to show us. That's what the word is designed to do, because God is his word. He talks to us through his word. And so you got to allow the word to deal with you. You got to allow the word to speak to you. And when you're not allowing the word to convict you, you're not allowing the word, God showing you people in your mind, situations in your mind, because God's saying, that's what I want to deal with in your life. What you thinking about right now, that's the situation God want to deal with. This is why sometimes people get off and turn their head, because you know why? Because they don't want to deal with it. They rather lose themselves than to sit up there and fight for you. It's a shame we'll go to hell and back for somebody else, but we won't go to hell and back for yourself. That's a shame. That's a shame. You'll get up and pray all night for somebody else, but you'll be too tired to come home and fight for yourself. You got to begin to understand something is wrong with that. We got to understand that we need some serious inner healing and deliverance, because that's not of God. We have got into a situation because we want to help people, because it pacifies that insecurity on the inside. It pacifies that pain. Oh, I'm doing a good deed, and it gets your mind off of you, and it puts your mind on somebody else. And so therefore you're doing what you're doing to keep you from dealing with your issues, not understanding you ain't hurt nobody but yourself. Because when you at home now, you got to go ahead and cry yourself to sleep. Here it is, you got to take all kind of pills just to go to sleep, because you don't want to think about your issues. This is why you got so many people drinking, so many people doing all this kind of stuff, because they trying to numb their pain, because they dying in this relationship. Dying. You got to understand, you die when you can no longer be yourself, when you no longer have a voice, when you are entertaining toxicity and dysfunctional relationship that hurt you. I ain't saying relationships are perfect, but what I'm saying is it should not be toxic. It should not be making you want to kill yourself. It should not be making you want to drink. It should not be making you feel like you know what, you about to go crazy. It should not be making you go downhill. Here it is, you looking like a barracuda. Here it is, you sitting up here drinking all night long and got out the blue because you just don't understand. No. If you know that your life is going downhill, that's an indication something is wrong. But if you're not being honest with yourself and you keep lying to yourself, God will allow you to be in that situation, because that's what you choose. If a person no longer respect you or value you, you are telling them you keep taking what they taking because they know you don't respect yourself. See, a lot of times we don't understand people are training you by what you tolerate. You got friends will you keep on spending all the money. You keep doing all the encouragement. You doing all the praying. She training you. She training you that she's using you. And you fine with it. She know that you deal with insecurity. This is your friend you grew up with. She know that you are in bad shape. That's why she keep doing this to you, because she's training you, and because you're not used to loving yourself, you let the title of "that's my BFF" fool you into bondage. You let somebody fool you, telling me I love you, baby. Love don't hurt. Love does not hurt. When we say, the Bible says love is patient, love is kind. 1 Corinthians 13 chapter verse 4, it said love is not puffed up. Love does not keep a record of wrongs. Love does not be judgmental. We better know what love is before you tell me I love you and he love me. She love me. Because guess what, man? When she cussing you out, she cussing your children out. Here it is. She can't respect you. She can't honor you. She don't know how to love herself. So how can you expect somebody to love you when you see how she treats you? That's an indication she don't know what love is. And so you got to love yourself to say, I got deuces, I got to walk. Why? Because I ain't got time to teach you, because I'm trying to work on me. This is when you got to work on you. And I never seen a culture of people, we wear the best weaves. We wear the Michael Kors, the men wear the J's, they wear the Nikes, but they don't invest into their soul. How many times you're dealing with childhood hurts? You're dealing with rejection. You're dealing with mama one day. You're dealing with daddy one day. You're dealing with insecurities. And you say it don't matter. Yes, that stuff do. It affects how you see yourself. It affects who you date. It affects what kind of relationship you be in. Because when you have not dealt with these issues, you lose yourself looking for approval, looking for love, because you didn't get it in your childhood. So you're looking for somebody to give you, to make you feel better. And so even though they got some issue, but I ain't never felt this, they take me places, and I ain't never had nobody to take me some places. So therefore you think that's love. Oh, well, nobody ain't never bought me nothing, so they always buy me stuff, but they talk to me like a dog and they hit on me sometimes. So they think that because this person buy them something, that means that this person loves them. We got to understand, but when you don't know what love is, we will begin to compromise with whatever feels good with us, because we have lost ourselves and we just want a little goodness. I don't know about you, but them days of the little goodness is gone. No, I'm working on me so I can know how to make me happy. and know what a happy relationship look like with a man or any other type of relationship, because I spent the time to love me, getting the help that I need. But when you're not getting the help, getting your counselor, getting your therapist, getting you some inner healing and deliverance, how can you help yourself when your wounds are talking to you? When what you dealt with in your life is still talking to you? Do you not know that wherever you've been hurt at in your soul, do you not know that personality of you is still there? So even though I'm 46, but let's say I got hurt at 10, I went through trauma at 10, and I didn't get any counseling. Well, inside of this 46-year-old is a 10-year-old little girl. Let's say I got hurt and raped at age 12. Well, so inside of this 46-year-old, I got a 10-year-old little girl that was overlooked. I got a 12-year-old that was raped, and all of this. So I got to deal with who I am, and I got to deal with the broken parts of me. Let's say daddy left mama when I was at 3. So here it is. I'm dealing with rejection issues. So inside of the 46-year-old, I got a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, and a 12-year-old inside of this 46-year-old. And you think you ain't got no issues? Yes, you do. Then you got children of your own. Then you wonder why you can relate to them the way, because it's part of you are immature. Part of you is still broken. Part of you are at a place where you need somebody to love you, because here it is. That's why sometimes women, we want babies, because here it is. We didn't get what we needed as a kid. So we thinking that if I get a baby, that's going to make me feel good about myself. Not understanding that's going to make you feel worse. You know why? Because baby got needs. Babies want to be held. Baby want to be cuddled. And here it is. I got to work. I got to go to school. And then here it is. Now you cranking. Now you being abusive to the baby, just like how they were cussing you out. Now you cussing. I got to go to bed. I ain't got time for this. Now the baby getting up all this hostility, because here it is. You got a baby, and you knowing you weren't ready for no baby, but you got a baby anyway out of need, because you wanted somebody to love you, not understanding that the baby was going to take some work. That was my life. Wanting a baby. Got some things I did not get in childhood. And I'm talking about this is how you lose yourself. And so when you don't take the time to give life to yourself, paying attention to you, paying attention to what's hurting you, paying attention to what's speaking on your mind right now, what person is standing out to you right now. How come we can be in a relationship and we can't tell a person how we feel, but it's so easy to sleep with somebody? It's so easy to give somebody your body, but you can't talk to them. You can't tell them what you're doing is hurting me. You can't tell them what you said to me make me feel some kind of way. But it's easy to give up ourselves. This is an indication we losing ourselves, because the Bible says your body is the temple. So you giving away God. And you give away God to something that's polluted. This person said they don't want to have nothing to do with God, but here it is, you giving of yourself to this person, not understanding God said, I died, my son died for you, and I'm giving you, trying to love you, and you want to give you to somebody else. We're losing ourselves. That's why the Bible say, why gain the world and lose your soul? Yes, you got a beautiful house. Yes, you got a nice car. Yes, you got some money, but you lost your soul. Because now you got to jump when this person say jump. You got to go when this person say go, because you fell in love with the trinkets, but then yet your relationship with God is suffering. This is what it looks like when you lose your soul. This is where you got to stop going by your feelings and your emotion. But I just don't want to be by myself. I just don't like myself. You just don't know what it's like to be by yourself. Well, you was by yourself when you was in your mother's womb. The thing is, you got to get a grip of you. You got to deal with you. Because you got to look at the facts is that you need somebody to get your mind off of you. And that's telling you a lot about you. That's telling you that you don't value you. Yeah, you got a $1,700 purse, but you don't even value the person that's carrying the purse. Yeah, you got a $300 wig, but yeah, you don't value the person that's wearing the wig. Fellas, you got on a $300 pair of Jordans, but yet you do not value the man that is wearing the Jordans. That means you don't love yourself. And this is why we got to have a grand entrance, because we want everybody to look at us, because we did not get what we needed as a kid. So now as an adult, I got to do stuff to get attention. Even if it's bad attention, because I don't lost myself and I try to get attention and make me feel a temporary hit just by having people like me. So I take me about 50 pictures on Facebook so they like. Then if nobody don't give you no like, you feeling depressed. We losing ourselves. We looking for somebody else to give you a like. And if they don't give you a like, you don't give me a heart, that means I must not be good. The devil is a lie. You ain't never got to give me no like. You ain't never got to give me a heart, because I know who I am in him. And it's what we don't make people up here, because you don't lost yourself looking for validation from people, not understanding you are validation. God validates you. God told you that you're beautifully and you're wonderfully made. God told you he got a purpose for your life. But because you looking at man, you looking at everybody else, well, she got 1,000 likes. Everybody, she got so many followers. But you know what? But how many of those people are delivered? How many of those people really like themselves? How many of those people can be in the room by themselves? Some people don't have no life outside of Facebook, social media. They got to do something, because other than that, nobody listens to them. Because before we had any of this stuff, you got to understand it gives people a false persona. And you got to know who you are, even if you don't get on here. But we lose ourselves when we're trying to prove something to other people instead of trying to prove it to you. What are you doing for you? What are you doing to help your mind? What are you doing mentally to help yourself? You went through abuse, you went through rape, you went through rejection, you went through abandonment, you dealt with the orphan spirit, you went through low self-esteem. What are you doing for you? Oh, I got my hair done. That ain't doing that for you. Oh, I got my haircut. That ain't doing that for you. What you doing for your mind? What you have suffered. You've been through abuse, abusive relationship. You've been through trauma in your childhood with your parents, trauma in relationships with other people. What are you doing to deal with those issues? Because drinking ain't going to get it. That's a Band-Aid. Getting high with weed ain't going to get it. That's a Band-Aid. Because we don't lost ourselves in those things, and we're not trying to get help. And we're looking for God. Somebody just going to lay hands on me one day and it's going to go away. That ain't how God work, baby. That ain't how God do this. You got to get with somebody and help you go. That's why I'm on here as a coach. You got to have somebody to walk you through this process. So while you crying, I'm praying with you. While you sitting up here, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown, but I'm here with you, because we going to face this devil. We going to face what happened to you. But when you don't want to talk about it, that thing going to keep affecting your life. And you don't lost yourself. Used to be happy. Now you depressed because of what has happened. You don't want to talk about it. And this is where you got to know facts. Anything that takes your peace is trying to take you. You got to know the truth. When you see a person show you who they really are, Maya Angelou say, believe it. This is the day and the time people will fake it till they make it. And these jokers nowadays will give you money. I had people give me money and they was demons on assignment in my life. When they saw me at a low place in my life, the snake came to bite. Give you money, act like they supporting you, and they're waiting for an opportunity to destroy you. This is where I'm talking about. You can't lose yourself. You got to fight for you. You get up in the morning. What are you talking to you? You get up in the morning. You got to tell yourself, I'm beautiful. Today going to be a good day. God is with me. God's hand is on me. I'm going to make it. Even though you don't feel like it, but I'm going to make it. Even though you feel like you about to lose your mind, I will not lose my mind. You got to say it every day. I will not lose my mind. You got to begin to talk to yourself and stop waiting. Well, the pastor ain't said nothing. The minister ain't said that. It ain't their job to say nothing. This is your life. You are the pastor of your life, and you lost your life by letting somebody calling you a dumb bee. You let somebody lost your life calling you a dumb heifer, and you don't think that's abuse? Nobody, you're sitting up there taking all this stuff in your mind, and you got to understand this hurts you. This is mental abuse. And sometimes some women, I have heard older women telling young women, that's how a man show his love. That's foolishness. That's why we need to have a conversation, and we need to have a mother-daughter conversations. Mothers, stop acting like we all saints, baby. No, I lost my virginity. I wasn't married when I had you. No, we need to have a conversation. No, I slept around. No, I had a baby out of wedlock. I'm going to tell you, let's talk about this stuff. Don't lose you. You know you lost yourself. You need to talk to your child, because guess what? When that devil come to get you at age 15 and you know your daughter 14 and a half, you better know that demon that came at you at 15 is going to come at your daughter, or it's going to come at your son. This is deliverance information, what I'm telling you. The devil, he is a sneaky devil, and he don't use no tricks. He used the same demons you see in the family. So if you see a lot of women dealing with breast cancer, you got to understand that's where he's coming from. A lot of women having babies out of wedlock, that's where the devil coming from. A lot of men doing other stuff, being hoish, it comes out the bloodline. This is some of the stuff that I teach in my mentorship. You got to be able to recognize being in an abusive relationship. It was all in my bloodline. As a kid, all in my bloodline. And I thought I was running from it and ran straight into it. Because I wasn't dealing with me. I ain't going to be like them. I ain't going to be like them. I ain't going to be like them. And I'm just like them. Because I didn't deal with this. This mouth can say whatever. But if you don't sit there and get somebody to sit down with you and y'all process this stuff that you thinking and this stuff that you doing and this stuff that you saying, you're going to lose yourself. And I'm telling you, you don't want to wake up 20 years later and realize you lost yourself with the wrong person. Now you got to start all over because you didn't know you. When you don't know you, you'll just wing it, looking at everybody else. I don't know about you. I don't have any more years. I don't have another 20 years to wing it. I got to be intentional. And so that means I got to look at myself. That's what I talk about in my book. I had to look at myself and say, I'm jacked up. Did I want to say that? No. Heck, I said that while I was a ordained minister. I'm jacked up. I looked at myself as a pastor. I'm jacked up. And it showed me people will let you be jacked up. Because as long as I was fulfilling their purpose, help pushing the vision, help doing church stuff, but I was jacked up. Never again will I do that. I don't love you more than I love me. I'm going to have time that if I'm tired, and if I'm supposed to be on here doing this, I'm going to give y'all a text so y'all see. I say, no, deliver me from me today. You know what I'm doing? I'm taking care of me. Because if I'm tired and if I don't feel like it, I'm going to take care of me. I ain't going to be pointing to you and my body saying, I'm tired. You can't pour it to them. I need some rest. I'm going to do what I got to do for me. I ain't finna love nobody else more than I love me. And people say, oh, that's self. No, baby, that's self-love. I got to take care because God lives up in here. I can't help nobody if I ain't helping myself. I can't speak to you if I ain't in good shape, mentally, spiritually, or physically. So therefore, I got to make sure I'm going to take care of me, and I ain't going to let church folk no more get me into that rut. Because we living in a day and time, people like to have church. They ain't thinking about you being delivered. We just want to have church. And you don't knock everybody down, but then yet now you got to go home and deal with your ugliness. And nobody didn't see that you dealing with some stuff, or you say something, oh, we just gonna believe God for it. But how come you ain't pouring into me how I just poured into the people? How come you ain't helping me like how I'm helping you? See, I began to look at stuff like that. I began to look at stuff when my mother died. I help people when they family member died. If I was close to them, I helped them. I watched. When I was at a low place, them jokers left me for dead. And if I didn't have no Jesus, oh, I would have been in bad shape. And it opened up my eyes. All these people, sis, we love your apostle and all this stuff. When I was at my lowest, I couldn't find them. So you got to understand. I'm looking through some different lenses now. I'm looking through the lenses of truth. I ain't finna let nobody kill me. Talking about church. I'm not finna let nobody kill me where I'm trying to help other people and I ain't taking care of my family, my marriage, my new marriage. I ain't getting into all that stuff with church. That's why I say you better not lose you, because sometimes you can lose yourself. I ain't say into God, I say church, the organization of church. Because as long as I'm good with God, I can be religious doing stuff. Because all this stuff that we do, it don't come from God. It's stuff that we want to do. God told me, you want to do that. I ain't told you to do that. So I cut back a lot of stuff because God was showing me, what are you doing that for? I'm not telling you to do that. So I take a back seat and I'm looking at things differently because I realized when I needed people was not there. And I said, I will not lose myself again. And people, apostle act funny. Apostle, I ain't acting funny. Apostle saying out the truth now. God don't show me the truth about people. And I told you, when God show you the truth about people, you better believe it. And stop sitting up here thinking that people just love you. So I thought that they just love me too. But when I needed help, them jokers were gone. People who I helped them in their marriage, but when I needed help, they were gone. I'm praying for them in their church, but when I needed help with my church, them jokers were gone. So you got to understand, I ain't finna lose myself. So you got to ask yourself, when God has showed you the warning signs, do you know the warning signs God is trying to tell you you're losing yourself? Do you know the warning signs? When you're tired and you keep on going, you're losing yourself. You sitting up there running here, running there. I could be so tired, my leg burning, but I'm keep on going. Come on, keep on. Tired, trying to help other folk. Those was warning signs. Then when I'm saying I'm tired, I need something, I got something to do. Or we'll call somebody to pray, they ain't answering their phone. Them warning signs. Now when you needed me at 3 o'clock, I was there. Now I need you at 3 o'clock, you just let the phone ring. Those are warning signs. And God is trying to tell you, they're not going to be there for you how you there for them. So you giving them 100% and they giving you 20%. And this way you got to tell yourself the truth. They don't love you like how you thought they did. And hear me, I get it. It hurts. But you got to understand. God is trying to show you that ain't the person who you need to be spending you need to be investing your time in. You need to invest your time in people that genuinely love you. So many times we get mad with people that talk about us and we want them to accept us. And the person who you got right here that's encouraging you, we will ignore them. Well, I ain't gonna say ignoring that person that's helping you, but you sitting up here trying to buy them cheesecake, buy them, and they ain't studying you. This is all relationships. What you trying to buy somebody that don't value you, but you losing you because the money that you could have been, you buying them something, you could be paying your light bill. But I don't want to be by myself. Well, what's wrong with being by yourself? Because when you by yourself, God is trying to show you some stuff. God is trying to show you people. He's trying to show you everybody who you think for you ain't really for you. Everybody who you think praying for you, them jokers ain't praying for you. Y'all just pray. These people are not praying. Hey, look at their life. What make you think they finna sit there and pray for you and they don't even pray for their own self? Y'all, we having a heart-to-heart today for real. We're losing ourselves. Church on came to a place where you got Cain and Abel spirit, a Cain spirit. People losing themselves trying to outdo another person. What kind of foolishness? because they didn't feel like nobody coming to the church. So there now somebody coming in singing, somebody coming in doing something that they can't do. So then now you trying to uproot and get them out there. What the heck is going on? What is really going on? You got pastors disliking another pastor. God ain't never told me to be like you. It took me years to learn how to love myself. So now you want to get mad at me because I don't want to dress like you. I don't want to act like you. I don't want to preach like you. Hell, it took me years to want to be like me. So you want to get mad because I don't want to be like y'all. No, God called me to be an original. And you got people because you don't want to fit in their cliques. You don't want to do what they do. Then these jokers want to sit up there and look at you as an enemy because you don't want to jump when they, God, you ain't my God. You didn't call me. Then when we got to look at ourselves, people get mad at folk because folk don't want to be like you. I ain't got to be like you. I got to be like God. Be like how God telling me to be, to embrace me, to deal with me. And we don't just got so perverted because we don't lost ourselves. And you got people don't even have their own identity because they want to be somebody else. I want to be like a pastor. I want to be like Mary. I want to be like Pastor Harvey. I want to be like, wait a minute. What's wrong with you? God said you're beautifully and you're wonderfully made, but you got so much issues with yourself, but you don't want to deal with yourself. So how you going to fix the problem if you ain't dealing with you? And my thing is, you buying all these clothes, but you ain't got you no help. I got a problem with that. You got on some $100 nails, but then here it is, your mind needs some counseling, and you won't go get you no counseling. I got a problem. You know you need some deliverance. You need to go with a minister and let them take you through deliverance. You know you need some coaching. Invest in some coaching to help your mind. That's what I had to do. God used another individual to help me. And nothing is wrong with that. See, the problem is we don't heard black folks ain't got no problem. You know what? If you're a human being, you got some problems. And that's why we got to deal with our issues and get us some help. You are a weak person that don't want to get no help. It's a wise person that's getting them some help because they got enough sense to say something wrong with me and I can't do this. That's what I told God. I said, I can't do this. You got to show me who gonna help me. I got people take me through the living, casting spirits out of me, dealing with me. Yes. I ain't finna just help you and I don't get me no help. I got somebody showing me, you know what, this is how you handle this. Because I can help somebody else, but some stuff I don't see about myself. And we got to stop being so religious. Well, my pastor say I ain't got to do all that. But why Jesus cast devils out? Why did Jesus do it? Don't tell me what your pastor say. Read your Bible. Jesus cast out devils. So why you don't have no demons cast out of you? If you go through problems, you go through trials and tribulations, you got some demons. That's why you can't let stuff go. That's why you still mad about what happened 20 years ago. That's why you sitting up here want to drink yourself to death. That's why you going through, because you got issues and you're not dealing with it. And we don't lost ourselves and we don't became a beast. And mad at God, and God saying, I don't got people to help you, but you won't get help. That's what he told me. I'm like, God, I keep going to church. He said, you're going to the wrong church. They can't help you. You got to go with people that's going to help you. Well, I don't like it. Again, do you want to be delivered? Because if where you going ain't helping you, what the heck you sitting up here going to a place and you know they can't do nothing for you? That's crazy. This is where we got to be honest with ourselves. Hear my heart. Because this is a passion for me. People look at me. You don't know where you were when I was suicidal. Where you were when I was dealing with low self-esteem, insecurity, dealing with judgment of spirit, dealing with bitterness, dealing with resentment, dealing with witchcraft, dealing with rejection, dealing with self-rejection, dealing with self-hatred. Where you was when I was dealing with all this stuff. I had to go get through deliverance, and I had to build myself up. Holy Ghost working with me, helping me, speaking to myself, going to counseling, going through deliverance, having me a deliverance coach. The same thing I'm telling you, it's hard work, but you know what? I'm worth it. If I can go and work on them 4 jobs for 40 hours a week, I can work on myself. If I can work on somebody else's job, you can work 12 hours to get some money. You can work on yourself. You can spend some time paying somebody to help you. Stop with that poverty mindset. When we do these things, I'm always giving them, giving. And people want me to keep giving. No, I'm giving to you hours every Tuesday, every Thursday. You can't expect for me to just give. What are you doing for you? Because I can't go to dealers and give me that Brahman purse, give me that Michael Kors purse. Some people gonna look at me like I'm crazy. If you want this, you got to pay for this. You don't tell them, I thought you worked for God. I do. But you got to understand, I had to pay for what I had to give. So if I'm giving already, don't be bombarding me on my personal time saying, I thought you supposed to be a minister. I am a minister of the gospel. What about when you look, I got over 1,000 videos on YouTube, free. So when you want people personal time more in depth, you got to invest in yourself and stop losing yourself, because we're giving our money and our time to people who ain't giving us a good return. And this is where we got to look at ourselves. This ain't about no money. This is real talk. And so as I get ready to come to a close, if you have not got my book, it's on Amazon, and I'm going to do my book signing party this Friday in Columbus, Georgia at 7 o'clock. You are invited. Also, if some of the stuff that I talked about and you saying, I need some help, my next mentorship class starts next month. Sign up. Can I tell you, I've been seeing some lives change on the mentorship. God been working with people, but they had to work for it. It was not easy. But you know what? But God is faithful. And if you want, thank you, woman of God. If you want your life to be changed, you got to invest in you. To be a nurse, I had to go to nursing school. To be a realtor, I had to go to real estate school. Come on. So you got to understand, you got to be willing to invest in yourself. You got to be willing to pay a price and stop giving yourself away to other people that's not pouring back into you. If they ain't pouring back into you what you pouring into them, you got to know to walk away. I'm going to say that again. You got to know if they're not pouring back into you what you pouring back into them in some capacity, you need to walk away. Because a relationship is give and take. I ain't doing all the praying. You praying too. I ain't doing all the buying. You buying too. I ain't doing all the encouragement. You encouraging too. So this is what we got to learn, how to be relational. That's why God will have you by yourself so you can look at yourself. If you don't want to look at yourself and say, I got some stuff wrong with me, stay the way that you are. But my thing is, but don't be hating folk that trying to work on themselves. Because I see that a lot in church. Mad at other people because they working on themselves and you ain't working on you. Don't be jealous or no. If you're not wanting to pay the price, don't be trying to hurt nobody because you don't want to deal with you. So we do this kind of stuff. That's that Cain spirit. He murdered Abel because Abel gave God an offering that God accepted. And people would try to murder their other siblings in church because they growing and they ain't growing. But they ain't want to invest in themselves. So if you didn't want to invest in yourself, don't be trying to murder your brother or your sister. All right? So I pray that this nugget was a blessing to you. We came from Deuteronomy, the 30th chapter, verse 19. Go over and listen to it. Please don't get offended. Please don't get offended. Y'all, we got to get some tough skin. Because the devil coming after you, he coming, hearing everything. But when we hear the truth, we get mad. You got to know when you get mad when the truth is getting preached, you got to understand Holy Spirit is convicting you. Because he's trying to show you this area in your life that need to change. It's not to hurt you. It's to let you know this is what God is saying. You got to deal with this if I'm going to help you to go to the next place that you need to be in. But if you keep running and shutting down every time somebody say something you don't like, you ain't going to never be free. Every time I get the word, man, God get to cutting me, I'm like, ooh, Jesus, I got to get myself together. And I'm preaching it and I say it. So let's do better. Let's get some tough skin. And I don't know about you, and let's grow. Let's be delivered. Let's change for the best so that God can send the best to you and you to the best. You don't want to keep going around the same circle. You want your life to be better. And if your life is going to be better, you got to be willing to do better. Amen. So this is Apostle AleciaBiggers, your deliverance coach. I will see you Thursday. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. Be blessed, and thank y'all again for your comments and sharing with us tonight. Bye-bye.